Hi everyone and welcome back to the Zombies. In this video I'll cover the latest addition to Modern Warfare Zombies, the Unstable Rift. As usual, I'll try to show you the easiest way to complete it solo, at least the easiest I managed to figure out so far, and not too cheesy as well. Differently from other seasonal content, the Unstable Rift doesn't have any prerequisites, so you can attempt it even if you are absolutely new to the zombies and don't have anything else unlocked. But this doesn't mean that you don't need to prepare. Quite the opposite. Here is what I believe is an essential gear set, especially if you're doing it solo. First of all, the good old RGL. This is going to be your working horse for this content, the absolute tool of crowd control in zombies. Many people seem to prefer the crossbow, but I tested both quite extensively and I find the RGL superior to the crossbow in pretty much every aspect. I use the Jack Thumper conversion kit on it, which can currently be unlocked via weekly challenge and will later be available in the armory unlock. With it I use slug grenades for increased impact damage. But even if you don't have those unlocked, RGL is still the way to go. You don't need to worry much about the ether tools and crystals. Something like blue and punch 2 will be sufficient if you stick to the medium threat zone while you're playing the round, and your guns will be auto upgraded to legendary punch 3 once you travel into Unstable Rift. To further improve your RGL, take dead wire detonators. Schematic for them can be unlocked in elder version of hydroelectric duct ether, also known as Third Rift. Dead wire detonators add electrocuting ability to your RGL and any other explosives, which also helps a lot. I highly recommend bringing ether blades with, which can be found in Albagra duct ether or the First Rift. As a secondary weapon, you can bring one of the wonder weapons to help with direct damage to bosses and special zombies, since that's the only area where RGL is lacking quite badly. VR11 seems to be a popular choice, but Wunderwaffe and Ray Gun also work reasonably well. Alternatively, the Scorcher can be used for a combination of firepower and mobility, and really to cheese the whole thing as much as possible. You should definitely get a PhD flopper perk for you to go through the round, so you don't damage yourself with your RGL. Don't worry about the other perks, you will receive any perks you are missing as soon as you get into the Rift. For the field upgrade, if going solo, I highly recommend the Energy Mine. If in a team, still Energy Mine, but you can also choose Healing Aura. On top of that, you'll need a selection of different ammo mods, but those can be easily acquired in the match by clearing any of the ether nests or infested strongholds. Once you load into your match, I highly recommend doing any preparations first before you start unlocking the Unstable Rift. That includes doing a bunch of contracts, finding any ammo mods you are missing and getting yourself self-revives. A lot of self-revives. Basically, any free space in your backpack should be occupied with an extra selfie. While you're running around and doing your stuff, keep your eyes for any of the obelisks on the map. There's over 30 possible locations for them, and they do spawn randomly at those, but there's quite a lot of them in any given round, probably a dozen or so. Guys at WZHubGG have created an excellent map of potential spawns, so you can check those out. Alternatively, just keep a couple of locations in mind and visit them. A lot of times the obelisks spawn at normal exfil locations, including exfils to story missions, so that makes them rather easy to find. As you find the obelisks, don't interact with them immediately. Instead, note which ammo mod each of them requires. That way you can plan the path you'll take later between the obelisks, the order in which you use ammo mods, and timing for opening the rift. Don't worry about the time too much. Every game the Unstable Rift can be opened up to 3 times, and I've never seen it happen more than twice, so you have full round worth of time to make sure you are well prepared. Once you found the 3 obelisks that you want and determined the order in which you need your ammo mods, time to get to work. Finish off anything you are still doing, fill your backpack with self-revives and get cracking. In order to interact with the obelisk, you need to have the required mod equipped. As soon as the obelisk is activated, you need to kill zombies using that ammo mod within the circle that surrounds it, until the obelisk is broken and reward rift appears. I prefer to do my obelisks in such an order that the brain rot one is the last, since I like to have that mod equipped in the Unstable Rift. But it's also possible that none of the obelisks you find would require the brain rot. In that case, I just have one in my inventory and activate it once the last obelisk is done. The unstable rift appears after 3 obelisks are successfully completed, but that number counts for the whole map rather than just a team. So you should always be ready that the unstable rift appears after you completed any of the obelisks. That doesn't even mean that the other team is actively going for the unstable rift either. Quite often people interact with them just out of curiosity or for easy rewards. So whenever you do the obelisk, keep a car nearby. Not only it makes it easy to go to the next obelisk, but also allows you to rush to the rift when it spawns. As soon as the 3rd obelisk is completed, the unstable rift appears somewhere within 500 meters from it, and every player on the map gets a ping to its location. It's not uncommon for people to go for it, even if they never touch the obelisks, sometimes because people are lazy, but more often just because it looks interesting and they don't really know what it's about. So don't waste your time. If another team beats you to it, the rift disappears and you'll have to repeat the 3 obelisk process again. Eventually though, you'll get it all done and make your way to the rift. Just like other portals, you need to interact with it and then vote on the map to initiate the travel. And off you go. Once you're loaded into the unstable rift, you'll find yourself in the inner courtyard of Al-Bagra fortress. The surrounding area is covered with gas that melts even the durable mask extremely quickly, so you are confined into this area. Any weapon you had on you will now become legendary and Pack-a-Punch 3. You'll also be granted golden plates and mags of holding. On top of that, your perks will be reset to include every perk except the tombstone. If you had a tombstone on you, it will be taken away. Also, don't bother bringing one in your inventory. Using it has no effect in the unstable rift. If you die here, you lose everything. Period. As soon as the timer goes off, zombies start spawning around you. On the sides of the map, you'll find 2 sets of stairs leading up the walls. That's where you are going to spend your next half an hour or so. Since I like to be accurate with numbers, I did a rough count of zombies spawning in each wave and it comes to exactly a shit ton. The area in the middle becomes the never-ending mosh pit and you'll get overwhelmed there in no time. So the strategy for tackling the unstable rift is to keep bunny hopping between the 2 walls, staying on one of them briefly to get most of the zombies on one side, then jumping over to another side to repeat the process. Every phase lasts 5 minutes until the round boss spawns. It does not depend on your kill count or anything else, just the time. And once you defeat the phase boss, the next one spawns in 5 minutes after. So one of the cheesiest strategies is to bring the Scorcher and just spend your time chilling in the skies between the boss spawns. Then kill the bosses using whatever means you prefer. But I find it way too boring. The first phase is relatively simple as only the regular zombies spawn in it. You may notice that I didn't bother bringing the dog with me, and that's for a reason. Unless you are with a big team where everyone has a dog, it just makes no sense. Since you can't really make your dog jump walls with you, it will have to pass the mosh pit non-stop and gets mowed down in absolutely no time. So while dogs are usually a lifesaver in other parts of zombies content, they are pretty much useless here. Once your first 5 minutes are up, the boss mimic spawns that you need to dispose of. I have my VR11 ready for this, but honestly you don't even need that. The point is you don't need to rush the boss. Take your time and do it nice and safe. The energy mine, for instance, does some really good damage to any boss, and there's more than ample opportunity to recharge it, so you can pretty easily do without ever switching away from your RGL in the whole thing. As soon as the phase boss is killed, all regular zombies despawn and the reward rift appears on the obelisk in the middle. Rewards suck, plain and simple. Still worth checking as you do get extra self-revives, occasional Casimirs and kill streaks, just don't hope to find any legendary or classified loot in those. Starting from phase 2, mimics are added into the spawn pool. The RGL is not very effective against special zombies, but it's not a big problem. The dead wire detonators still shock them very effectively, which actually allows to block the choke points quite well as you unload the barrage of grenades into the horde. And the energy mine kills any special zombies within 2 blasts. Mimics are extremely annoying though, since their grab attack can break your parkour and land you in a very unfavorable position, and their speed attack breaks all 3 plates at once and one-shot downs you if you have no plates. Eventually, that is, after 5 minutes, the second boss appears, and this time it's a mangler. For me, this one is the most annoying of the whole lot, simply because how slowly it moves about the map and how much it prefers to use its ranged attack. It's also the boss that RGL is the least effective against, so definitely use your energy mine to eat through its armor and health. But in general, just be patient. You can see that I tried to accelerate things by pushing the guy, and it costed me quite a few self-revives. Once the boss is dead, all normal zombies will despawn, but be careful, any surviving mimics will still be there and you have to deal with them.
Give us the upper hand. Cluster mine set.
Phase 3, as you probably already figured out, adds manglers and crawlers into the mix, but otherwise is just more of the same. Some of the mimics will also be an HVT variant with more health, but most of the time it's not even noticeable. I think it's worth mentioning that if you do find a spot where you can camp and just kill zombies from relative safety, still make sure to reposition every now and then. If you stay in one spot for too long, the lightning bolt will strike you from the skies, resulting in an immediate down. So moving is essential, even if you feel like you have a perfect position. The boss for Phase 3 is a Stormcaller. In general, he shouldn't be much of a problem. The energy mine works very well against all kinds of disciples, not only damaging their armor and health, but also breaking up any summoning or healing routines. The deadwire detonators on the RGL also help a lot, since disciples are weak against electricity. If you do use VR11 here, avoid hitting any regular zombies though. They turn into mercs then, and the Stormcaller can and will heal off them. Phase 4 adds disciples into the overall mix, and I think some of the manglers become HVTs, but I'm not sure since it's kind of hard to keep track of the enemies. Disciples can largely be ignored since they barely do any damage and will die in the overall crowd. And since almost nothing has changed from other phases, we can quickly touch on another cheesy strategy that involves a melee weapon as your second. See, the melee is generally overpowered in zombies, and it can also be used while you are down. So the strategy involves same bunny hopping through the round, and then once the boss has arrived, pushing the boss heads on with your melee. This will cause you to go down, but that's okay, since that also causes zombies to de-aggro and stay in place. So instead of reviving yourself, you crawl next to the boss and melee them down. The added bonus is you don't even have to use the self-revive here, since the moment the reward rift appears, all down players are automatically revived. And even if you don't manage to kill the boss in one go, well, you still have a bag full of selfies for the second attempt. I do find this strat overly cheesy though, but really just a matter of personal preference. The Phase 4 boss is an electrified mimic that will shock you if you get too close. As such, it's best dealt with by either using ranged attacks or your energy mine. Again, take your time and concentrate on staying alive rather than anything else, and keep dealing damage bit by bit until the boss is dead. If you hope that rewards get better as the phases progress, well, don't, they still suck. Maybe it will get tuned up a bit in the future, but I don't really hope for that.
Undead threat removed.
Now, I wanted to say that as soon as the last phase starts, everything changes, but no, not at all. The phase plays exactly the same as the previous ones. I planned to use my sentry gun here just to ease things up a bit, but simply forgot about it after half an hour of repeating the same pattern over and over. The final boss of the rift is another disciple that can spawn additional HVT special zombies just like in the Union mission. I don't believe it becomes invulnerable though, so you basically carry on the same strategy as with Stonecaller 2 rounds prior. Keep moving, don't let him heal, abuse your RGL and energy mine to deliver the damage. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to complete it the way I planned, as halfway through killing the bastard, a mimic pushed me through the textures. Yet again. I can recall at least 2 patch notes specifically mentioning fixing this, but it's still happening. And annoyingly, with me, it happens so many times on the final stages of hard content like Elder Dark Ether and the Unstable Rift here. Honestly, I thought I'm done here and we'll need another run all over again, but somehow I was still able to shoot through the surface and kill the boss, and as soon as he was dead, I teleported back on the surface. But with Call of Duty bugs, I just learned to take the W and not get raged by it. So there you have it, beating the Unstable Rift solo. The ending could have been cleaner, but with 3 remaining self-revives and 9 minutes to go, there's no way I would have failed it anyway. And what do you get as a reward for this? Not too much really. You get an exclusive animated camo that's so horrible my eyes bleed just looking at it. And all of your crafting cooldowns get reset, so you can go ahead and do all of this again if you want to. Hooray! And yeah, some bragging rights too, if that's worth anything to you. I hope this whole thing was helpful, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.